There are just so many crochet tips around. I'm sure you have noticed. I have at least 50 of them on my channel. Some are on videos with many tips, and then individual ones, and then ones where I answer questions. And I also keep looking for new ones all the time. Must say I don't very often find new ones anymore. But on this here video, I'm showing the 5 that I use all the time myself. And I didn't count into those 5 those that I had maybe been crocheting for decades before I even realized it was something that could be done in a different way, so I wouldn't consider it a tip. For instance, that I always crochet the slip knot instead of first making it separately and then putting it on the hook. Or that I automatically almost always, finish a project by doing an extra chain at the end. And also leaving out one that I just very recently made a separate video of, where I said that it's the most important one I have learned. And that is that when you are changing colors, you always use the new color already for the last stage of the stitch of the previous color, this here video. So when I have left those out, here's 5. And I have links in the description for longer videos of all those, either a full video if there is one, or a direct link to a spot in a longer video where I talk about that. And the first one is super simple technically. And I only learned it maybe a couple of years ago. If you need a very smooth edge on both sides of single crochet, you leave the chain one out before you turn. And instead, you just pull that stitch very slightly and then turn, making sure you turn the right way so that the yarn stays behind. Because if you turn the wrong way around, the yarn is in front here. And then you go into the very first stitch and make a single crochet and continue just normally. That makes a very smooth edging for it. But you don't use that for everything. For instance, if you're going to make a border, then don't use that because it's harder to get the stitches in when it's sort of a tighter edging to it. And I have now been using this single crochet edging long enough so that it's sort of becoming automatic. A certain way of doing I-cord very quickly, or using that same I-cord as a starting chain. I had used this I-cord for quite a long time and I have shown it on a number of videos. And then some people commented that it's also very good as a starting chain. And I decided to try that, and it definitely is. Like in this here hat that I just made very recently, I use that. And it's more elastic than an ordinary chain, but it looks nicer at the edging than foundation single crochet. So this is how you do it. Make a slip knot so that your yarn tail is 3 times the length of how many chains you need. And this here yarn comes from the ball so that then you continue that on the next row. Before chaining the first, take a yarn over and then you chain. Always lift the yarn on your hook before you chain. This is quite a thin I-cord if you are using only one yarn. So if I need a thicker I-cord, I've started using this way by using the yarn double or triple or whatever to get the thicker one easily and quickly, instead of using these harder ways of doing it, like where you have 4 or 5 or 6 stitches. That looks like knitting or Tunisian crochet. I make lots of things where you crochet in the round, and for that in many cases I would use the magic ring. And the way I do it is super easy and super quick. People often make it sound complicated, but there's no need for that. And the fourth one that I also use always is that whenever I need any length of a chain at all, I mark normally that every 20th stitch and then the next 20 and the next 20, So if I'm not sure, I don't need to start counting from the beginning, but I only count to 20. And when it's close to finishing, I count 20, 40, 60, and so on. And this I do no matter which way I do the starting chain. So it can be the ordinary chain, or it can be foundation crochet with any stitches, single, double, whatever, or it can be this I-cord that I just mentioned. It works equally well in all of those. But it's important then to make sure that it is the 20th one that you mark, and that then you stop counting at the 20th and then start again from 1, 2 and so on, so that you don't either always miss one where you put the stitch marker or add one. And then the next one. We all have a phone and I use that a lot in crochet. So instead of using like markers or writing things down, I would just take a photo, like setting the ball of yarn and the hook on top of what I'm making and taking a photo, or taking a photo of the die lot, or also my notes for designing something new look like this here. So if I'm going to a different place, for instance, which I often do, I just take a photo of all those so I don't need to take any notes with me. And then it's of course important that you have all those photos that you collect in a place where you find them. What I actually do after taking the photo of whatever it is that I need to remember, I mark it with a heart so it goes into the favorites. And then later I go into the favorites and move them to a more secure place. What I actually use is Google Drive. So I have a folder there for those so I can access that anywhere and on any device that I'm working with. So here's my 5 things that I use all the time. Are some of these the same ones that you are using? Or what are the ones that you can't do without? Till next time.